Welcome everybody. This is the beginning of the new season where we're going to be transmitting the frequency and the topics of explorations that we are researching on our little ship, the Pipilota, with our crew. But it applies as well that you can drop us some comments, ask us some questions, engage with the conversation somehow as we unfold it here. And we intend to have also some guest appearances by other pirates from our crew this time around, because in the last season 0, we were just like jamming and vibing and like tuning into what this format could be. And now we will be sharing more about what's happening on the ship and reflecting on that.
Yeah, so we will go now with the podcast. We will go through the 8 circuit brain model, one zone at a time, one color at a time. And if I do my homework, one planet at a time, one vice and one virtue at a time. And
That's gonna be your homework: vices and virtues for each of the circuits.
and planets, yes, or heavenly bodies.
Well, I'm already wearing the red. That's the topic for the week where I have just started today. But yeah, we're just starting the research, so we'll probably come back with the insights and the hidden treasures from Circuit 1 next week.
Right. Yeah, we just launched yesterday. We are so right now we are. Did we already arrive at sea, or are we still
We're
leaving
still
the
at the
harbor?
river. We're still on the river of Willpower. That's between the red and the yellow territories. And we're gonna make our way up to Control Bay, and then from Control Bay get first into Safety Bay, to drop an anchor there for a night or two before we hit Warrior Monk Island.
No.
So yeah, this was a week to explore our relationship to our bodies, to explore how we can befriend our bodies and tend to our bodies, and explore as well like all the ways that we usually have negative talk towards our bodies or trash our bodies with our paradigms. How we can tune into our body signals to take care of them, and how we can improve our capacity to regulate into safety. That's I think the main gist of the Circuit 1 explorations. Circuit 1 is about fight, flight, and freeze. So we want to avoid to getting lost at the icy isolation islands or the lands of the frozen bodies.
Yeah. Well, for me, I noticed one thing. My body is one thing I noticed is my sleep. I didn't sleep very well last night.
Mm.
Oh, can you see me still?
Your image is frozen.
It looks like my image is frozen, huh?
Mm.
Yeah, it's that's. Does it resume now? Yeah, it resumes
Yes.
now.
So you didn't sleep well last night. I heard other couple of pirates that didn't sleep last night well because the deck was still too chatty.
Yeah, and I did dream very intensely, and I didn't sleep for very long. Woke up early, so it was yeah, it was a hectic time. Yeah, isn't was it Neptune entering Aries or what is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Leaving art school also didn't sleep very well. I wonder if leaving art school remembers any dreams. Anyway, so I had a before I went to sleep, I had a little moment of reflection with my bedtime procrastination goblin, and that's why my screen was frozen earlier because I'm trying to open the text I wrote uh, to the goblin or with the goblin. I think it might be relevant to share that.
Can you share it from memory?
No, no, um, I cannot. I cannot do that. But I guess I could post it to Substack.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to go with that.
Yeah, so okay, I'll post that one. I'll post that one myself. I'll read it out. I'll post it and read it out. Yeah, very good. That's the way to do that one. Excellent. Yeah, so maybe I should make. I'm I was a little bit daunted by my intentions that I set for the journey. I thought they were actually quite ambitious. Um,
Yeah, but hey, man, like big respect for them. Yeah, I didn't thought that you would commit that much skin to the game. Yeah,
yeah. So no, because I sat. I took it. I took time. Like I had a walk and I sat down and I meditated a little bit and then I tuned in with myself. Like, what am I looking to get out of this journey? What's going to happen? And it was, it's like, okay, what are the shifts I want to make? And some of it's tied back to my theme for the year, which was professionalism. And I realized, yeah, I have some kind of burning desires and bright ambitions, and hmm, hmm, time to commit to it. So that includes, yeah, a weekly post, really writing something, and also studying, taking some time to study and to read books, to really get into studying again and learning.
so full on circuit tree activation you're going for there. Really
Uh,
putting your mind to concepts,
yes.
learning, digesting information in an ordered manner, and then transmitting it again into the stacks.
Yeah, and just because also, like last week, we were talking about this zombie generation who can't focus and who can't, like the fact that the youth can't read, which is tragic, but I feel like, oh, my my level of literacy, such as it is is not just a privilege but a responsibility.
Mm.
Just like I have a responsibility to maintain my ability to read and write
And to hone that craft, yeah. Mm.
because
But
apparently it's a fleeting thing. It's not really a well maintained virtue at this point in time. As not just in the grand scheme of things, also for me personally. Like I've been lazy. I've been very lazy. Uh,
slacking.
yeah, and I can tell that my mental faculties are not at their best. And it's not just because I didn't sleep. It's not just because of long COVID. It's not just because of a lifetime of marijuana use and abuse. It's from a lack of trying.
Yeah.
It's,
How does it feel owning that?
well, uh, yeah, but the way to address it is really to start using my brain again.
Mm.
So that's what I put here is okay, time to do my homework. And I know I said I would read a book. No, I kind of have an intention to read a lot more, to finish. Um, like, I would love to just read a book for every circuit and not just a chapter.
Oh, that's ambitious.
I
I
used to be
can.
able to do it. I used to read books in 2 days.
Hmm.
I remember when I was a teenager, my I would read 100 pages an hour.
Yeah, you're a fast reader. That definitely. I was amazed at that one time I sent you my post like, "Hey, look at it," and you were like, "Yeah, yeah, this is like, come on, you can't possibly have read that in this like 2 minutes."
Like, well, I skimmed it, but I'm but I used to be pretty good at skimming things. Yeah.
Like pattern recognition, ADHD brain style of reading. I
Well,
noticed
plus,
that I read different. Like I can do that as well, but my usual style of reading is like really narrating all that I read, and it takes like a lot slower time of intaking the information.
it depends if it's a rephrasing of something that I already kind of know what's going to come, then it's like, oh, which argument is being presented here, rather than that every word matters, so to speak.
Hmm. Yeah, fair enough. It's a good skill to have. Being able to like skim through and recognize what the argument at large is, and like what the pointers are and what's the important bits of the text.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if in fiction, it's not that doesn't work, but yes, and even in fiction, it can work. But yes, that's exactly right.
But just to catch up our viewers here, you said you made a commitment that is part of the monastic exercise we're doing. So we're doing chaos monastics on the ship, which means that we're dedicating the time from now on to the summer solstice to a
Hmm.
rigorous, self-determined practice of medical experimentation. And
Yeah,
each of the pirates on the
we
ship.
set our own goals and our own ambitions, and I mean, there's a format, there's some included stuff that is the minimum requirements, but then there's an invitation to come up with your own missions and your own, like, what are you working on, what practice do you want to adapt. And I noticed something interesting, which is part of this text I wrote about the to the goblins yesterday night. That often there is this sense of like, oh, if you just do this thing for 100 days, and it will change your life. It'll change your pattern. Like this is, and 100 days is roughly 3 months. It is roughly this period of time. So there was a synchronicity in that for me, because I was like procrastinating with something that was about this 100 days thing. So it felt like, I tried to find the good part of the procrastination. It'll be a good piece. It would be nice to share it. So yeah, but I realized that this too, it's really a trajectory to reset some stuff, and I'm happy to, yeah, to raise the bar for myself and to have a bit more. I expect a bit more from myself going forward. It's not good to go to waste. It's not good for the soul to let your talents go to waste.
Oh, we're back at the talents parable. Yes. Yes. Indeed, if you have talents, you need to cultivate them somehow. You were given some talents and you can put them to use for the greater good or for evolution.
I mean, the world needs your gifts, but if you don't cultivate your gifts and you don't grow the tree of your gifts, then there's no fruit, and then you have
Mm,
nothing to show. And
exactly.
then what? Then the world needs your gifts, but you didn't bring them. And then what? Then you don't get to complain about the state of the world, because you had a chance to do something about it. You were given talents. So if you want to complain about the world, cultivate yourself.
Hmm. I'm curious what's coming up for you around expectations, because we've had a couple of brushes around expectations. I kind of like put something in the room and they're like, I can't match that expectation. I can match that expectation. And like somehow it generates some pressure on you. There's
Mhm.
some sort of like expectation avoidance. Uh,
Yeah, but I think it's also good. I'm I'm taking stuff on my own tempo, and yeah, whatever it is that needs to come and grow and happen and be processed will announce itself. Um, at least that's how I'm looking at it now. But it could also be that yeah, maybe you did plant the seed of, and then it's like yeah, I say no, 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 don't miss me with that shit. But then later I'm still digesting and like okay, it comes up.
I revisited that conversation though because I was like, wait a minute, what expectations is he like pushing against too? And I was wondering, really curious. I'm really genuinely curious what came up for you there because all I said is like, hey, what is the skin you're gonna be putting into the game? So, and there was an invitation to sit down and think about what skin you want to put in the game, but I didn't frame any concrete expectations I had on you. I
Hmm.
made an invitation. I sent you a seed of inspiration of your own words.
Yeah, but still, it at that moment it was like yeah, for me it was not my tempo. Yeah, yeah, just that. No, I'm really sensitive about this. I'm just like yeah,
Don't push me, woman.
yes. I'm much more allergic to it than I might seem, or than other people might be. It's like yeah, no, and I was when I phrased it like oh about that I phrased it bringing in this as presenting it like expectations. I knew that that would be like potentially up for debate whether it was expectations, but it felt right for me to present it like, hey, have you considered that these might be imposed expectations, or that I could experience them as imposed expectations, and that I'm not about it.
But that's what I'm curious about. Like, why do you experience such an open invitation as an imposed expectation? Like, what is that bringing up for you? Actually, where is that coming from?
Yeah, just that's just how I'm seeing it, or seeing it. This is how I experienced it in that moment.
Mm.
Just like, hey, that's 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 how that felt. Maybe it was a maybe it was really a moment where I was not in the mood. Also, it was also that I was also not in the mood. I was not in. It was not the right time. But I don't know how interesting that is for our audience.
Well, depends if you're willing to dig deeper or not.
Yeah, but they missed the context. Like we were talking about something. We were talking about a private conversation that is not part of our output, so it's not really. It's hard to dig deeper in it.
Yeah, yeah, evade it all you want. Calling you out.
We
That's
can, we,
okay. Then shift the topic. Shift the topic. We're gonna talk about my oath. Uh, that felt also like a stretch, definitely, and I saw you celebrating that. That was fun. Uh,
mm-hmm,
I'm still feeling a lot of heebie-jeebies about like taking 2 days off of work completely. That
mm-hmm.
feels like wild, and I have no idea what I blocked Friday and Saturday for that, and I have no idea yet what I'm gonna do on those days. I have no plans yet. It's like
Uh, it was like, wait, I'm When's the
Wait,
last time
and
you have like
if I'm
delivered?
gonna take this time off, when the fuck am I gonna write my next Substack post? I don't have time for free time. What is that shit?
Interesting. Yeah, I think that will be really interesting for you.
uh, so yeah, for the audience, I'm a workaholic. I'm a workaholic that works at high speed, producing a lot of creative output. But I don't take good care of the rest and digest part, which is also circuit one, circuit five. So my
Yes.
my intention for this journey is to work on the balance of circuit one, circuit five axis, which is kind of like the next balancing act I actually need to do. Circuit one includes this, yeah, taking care of the body, taking enough rest, eating well, exercising, getting sunlight in, and screen detoxing as well, and getting into a little bit more vitality and warrior mode vibes, which then allows for Circuit 5 expansion, which is about pleasure and play and flow and actually being able to hold more presence and being able to hold more joy and more ecstasy. And I'm shit. Well, I'm not gonna say it with the is glue. I have experienced, like, even at festivals the last years, I could not relax into having fun, into just having fun. There's always some sort of like mission, some sort
Mm-hmm.
of duty, some sort of captain's hat I put on for the crew,
Or
and I
some
can't by the
sort of angle to play, some sort of scheme, some sort of work. It's
and I mean I made my work already playful, right? My work is
but
already a
the
game.
problem then becomes that then when you're at play, you feel like you're at work. Or then you, yeah, no, I now that we talk about it, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what you need. You need to rest and digest in order to relax and play. Otherwise, playtime is also work time.
I
And
and
then
I
you,
love that my work is fun and playful, but
yeah, but
it's
it gets frustrating when you
yeah.
really try to play. It's like, ah, it's like it
It's
becomes
about like
hard to.
unstructured play. I mean, to be honest, creating the maps last year was super fun. Like my inner teenager child was just like having massive fun creating the maps. I enjoyed it. I was like really spreading joy of just like being immersed in this activity. And I had a marketing assistant that was taking care of the propaganda stuff, which was like awesome because then I spent about like 3 sessions a week of like between 5 and 10 hours a day, just like painting the maps. And I would block the whole day for that of like I don't have any other things, no appointment, no one to meet, nothing. I just kind of immerse myself in this mapping. And that felt like play, but in the back of my head it was still work because I knew that
Yeah,
these maps are gonna be playing into my work.
yeah, but that's creative output. That's in a way that's different. But it's when you, yeah,
So I'm allowed to paint more maps in my free days of screen days.
you can try and see how it feels, and then see if it feels like you, if it feels like cheating.
Mm.
I think you are allowed. I don't think it means that you're not allowed to accidentally be productive, but
Accidentally be
where you only see in retrospect that you actually got your most interesting and most important work done on those days. But if you go into it with that attitude, then you're not doing it.
I mean, I didn't know what the magnitude of what I was creating when I started creating those maps. They just were like
Right.
flowing out, and it was fun. And I was just very very happy doing those maps. I was very happy. Like it was really like childlike all about that. And I hadn't used my craft for painting or drawing in years, and I used to be very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and recently I went to a body worker because I've set this intention to befriending my body and getting into better relationship with my body, and I'm gonna be seeing Fuchs girl for that. So we have a deal for 8 sessions as well to do body work together. And she in the first meeting she said like, you need to do something with your hands. You need to like your hands want to be creating stuff and painting, drawing. I don't know, doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fairly good at pottery as well as creating sculptures out of clay.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I had before I started studying comparative religion, philosophy, and political science. My ambition was actually to go to art academy, and I never dared to turn in my application out of like fear of rejection of my art.
Nice. I did actually get rejected from art academy, so yeah, that was fun.
Did
But
it?
I went in for photography,
Mm.
which is different. Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah, yeah. You have
rekindle.
some, you have some unfinished business there then, like I have with intellectual pursuit. Got to put this noggin to work.
So
And
you go more for the intellectual pursuit. I go more for the art.
yeah, crafting and doing, yeah, really taking the space to just play around. Whereas and we mentioned this earlier, like you take 2 days off and I take 2 days on. So I'll take 2 days and say like, okay, these are my work days. Whatever it is but it has to be work. It's got to be work. And I think I will take on some astrological work. I'm gonna study like some classical esotericism because that's interesting to me at this point.
And you're
Yeah.
gonna be reading Prometheus Rising.
I'll be reading Prometheus Rising, yes, which goes through the circuits and then imbibe of the material you provided, videos you recorded. And yeah.
Oh well, I'm very curious about your critique then on the material I've recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Frank. While Living Art School says, count it as a blessing, you don't need their approval. Yeah, that's a tagline for you. Leaving art school, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean for sure. I mean it was a long time ago, and I just thought I would try.
Well, kudos for you for trying. I didn't even dare to try. Uh,
Yeah.
but anyhow, I yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe creating more space for doing some art, but also yeah, meeting people, going out there. I've been so hermetic as well. I've not been doing much citying either, like going out into the city.
Right. You live in Berlin after all, you know. Uh Maybe
No,
enjoy
I
it.
live
Maybe,
in my apartment and Berlin is surrounded.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you live in your apartment, which happens to be in Berlin.
Also, it only is like half in Berlin and half somewhere else because
Yeah,
it's magically protected from the rest of the chaos vortex that is the city.
it really is. It really is. It's really blessed. I'm very uh, looking forward to visiting again.
I'm very much looking forward to having you visit again. You still have a
Excellent.
box here.
I do. I actually missed this coat that's in that box. By the
Um,
way, the universe has the universe saw fit to. Yeah, I'm still fascinated by this battery I got. The universe saw fit to grant me another boon in the form of a giant battery. So I will really be throwing some raves outside.
I'm very much looking forward to that as well.
Yeah,
It seems like you have a fun summer ahead, definitely.
crazy. It's gonna be so so hilarious.
I'm curious though, like, what is your Circuit One quests that you're gonna go after, or what is your mission with Circuit One?
I think I need to realize that I've been trying to because I've been too much living in the future, living into like my driving exam and then going, but it's not sustainable. I need to slow down and be here now in order to be grounded enough to actually go and have that all happen without stress. Like I feel like I'm on some level I realize I'm running away from something,
Mm.
and yeah, I need to
What
take
are
it
you
slow.
running away from?
To put it simply, I live in a museum of my past relationships, and I don't know where to start to fix that except move the fuck out.
Oh,
Which
you have a massive decluttering and downsizing quest.
yeah, well, but I don't really want to downsize. I love all my stuff. I need to move to a bigger house.
But then you will still have the museum of all of your relationships there.
No, 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 no. No, no. It's not so much the stuff that is the museum of the relationships. It's the way that it's decorated. It's the way that the walls are painted, especially the wall paints. The ways every wall has marks of it. Yeah. No, there's.
But downsizing and decluttering is like also good magics to call in new resources.
Sure. Awesome. Awesome. But I need to also declutter, yes. But I will park the car in front first, and I'll start packing it as my yeah. And then the stuff I'm like, okay, when I stand in front of the car, I'm like, am I really taking this? You know what? No. And then I just drop it on the floor and call the
Mm,
trash pickup,
mm.
something like this.
So for you, it's getting more about getting into presence with your body, presence with what's
Yeah,
happening. I
and
mean,
then all
moving houses is also Circuit One topic in a way. It's all shelter, right? It's like
yes,
basic needs: sleep, shelter, food.
that, and it means yeah, I need to start. I feel like I need to eat better, sleep better. Like I haven't actually had a proper normal bed the entire time that I've been back here. I've been alternating between sleeping on the couch and sleeping on a massage table for the last 2.5 months.
Why?
I just because I just couldn't be bothered because I don't have a I don't I mean I could go and pick up a bed, but I just don't have a proper bed available to me at the moment, and I just was like, nah, it's not a priority. Because I was like, it's not worth it. I'll be gone. I'll be out of here soon. But it's like, hold on. No, I should take care of it. Honestly,
Priorities.
the massage table is kind of a vibe to sleep on though. It's very
It's very like Spartan, right? You can't
it is
move much. So
it, it's Martian. Yeah, it's martial. Yeah,
good red magic, Spartanic sleeping on a massage table. Hmm.
yeah. I th-
Oh.
I kind of escaped the impression that it's also assisted my celibacy journey a bit.
If you don't have a bed to fuck in, you can't fuck much, right? And girls tend to have like a yeah, no couch.
which which I know. So it's not. I'm gonna like.
Interesting. No, I went the opposite way. I got like yeah, I mean, I got a good new mattress for the beginning of winter, and it's
Hmm.
been glorious sleeping there.
Yeah.
My sleep is improving. It's improving. The marijuana withdrawal is getting better. I don't even miss it. I don't even miss it right now.
No. Exactly.
Like every once in a while, when I catch a whiff, it's like, oh yeah, Mary.
Hmm.
Perhaps I'll return to you. Perhaps not. I don't know yet. But right now, I feel good without her. Last night it took me a while to fall asleep though, because not taking screens into my bed means also not listening to the Pirate History podcast, which is right now my sleeping ritual.
Mm.
And I do somehow need the blah blah to fall asleep faster. I need this like the storytelling thing that it's just like super conditioned because my dad used to tell us stories always at night, like the bedtime stories. And he would like sometime invent stories, but he would also tell us stories of history. He would like even like tell us the stories of the Ilias and the Odyssey, like really classical literature stories, and like just told, not read. Like he could like tell them by heart. So that was fun. So I have like a conditioning of needing some storytelling to actually fall asleep.
Hmm.
And of course, last night was also exciting after the 4 hours Zoom call of swearing in the crew and all of that. And then suddenly, okay, now my devices are off. And I stayed like sitting there for 20 minutes or so, just like watching the last candles burn down. And I was like, okay, so now what?
Great. I mean, read a book. Write your own story.
I did get to my planning though. I planned my week. I got to my planner and made my to do list for today. That's a good thing. But I tend to do some journaling in the evening. Then after I disengage from my screens, that will be then the time to reflect on the day's workings, what went well, what went not, and what the treasures are. So yeah, coming back to journaling practice. So yeah, my circuit one quest definitely is around better sleep hygiene with the detoxing from the screens after 23, and also I did it today and was
Wait,
great.
that's 11 p.m. for the Americans.
Yeah, 11 p.m. And to another commitment I made, which feels like really fucking daunting, like also feels like fucking big for me because I'm such a like I don't go out of the house. Maybe like I go out of the house maybe like once a week. Twice a week is a lot for me to go out of the house already. And I made a commitment to go for a morning walk every fucking day before going on my phone or the computer. And that was great this morning, to be honest. I did some exercise, and then I went out to run some errands, get some stuff, and then I had breakfast, and it was not until 12 that I actually then um got my first screen time. My eyes hurt a little bit, like going out in the morning, like sunlight. But that's the thing, right? Professor Huberman says like that's the one biohack that will change your life. Go out and get some sunlight in your eyes in the morning before you get screen light. So I'm very curious
Yeah,
what that will happen. It sets your circadian rhythm up for a different flow. So maybe
yeah,
I'll be
and it's good to start your day with an awareness of what the real thing is, so that the you don't get so tricked.
to not immerse too much in the simulacrum. You mean
Yeah,
go go there out in the real world? Well, it's
that's
nice.
why.
Birds are singing. So I was also like, this is gonna be good. It's
Yeah,
definitely gonna be good if I can commit to it. And then I committed to
you did commit to it.
weightlifting exercise as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how ripped I can get in the next 3 months.
Excellent. You put that on. You're like, I'm doing weightlifting.
I like daily either a little bit of movement, stretching, yoga, movement, qigong, but 3 times a week, either weightlifting at the gym or a high intensity interval kettlebell training.
Serious. Excellent. Huh. I would just, yeah, add that to your morning walk. Put it on your morning routine.
What?
Just wake up in the morning, have breakfast, go down for your morning walk, but you bring your towel and whatever you need for the gym.
No, no.
Too much?
Yeah, too much because I also read somewhere that it's not as good for middle-aged women body going through perimenopause to do strenuous exercise without having breakfast.
I didn't say without having breakfast. You wake up, you first have breakfast, and
I know
then
I don't have breakfast until like 12 in the midday. I usually don't do the early breakfast.
start
No, I have a good rhythm of intermittent fasting that I don't want to break.
as you wish.
But I like the morning walk and then coming back, doing some work, and maybe rather going to the gym in the afternoon for the early evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to what the circuit one week will bring. I'm experimenting with hunger, actually eating only when you feel actual hunger, and then only eating as much as it will like satisfy you to 80% or so, and then not
That's
eating anything until you feel actual hunger again.
mm, worth the experiment, but make sure that you still have enough energy because yeah, if it puts you in lethargic mode. But I mean, it can be. I don't know. For me, it's different, I guess. Um, because it's different. If you're losing weight, it's different than if you're gaining weight.
For sure, for sure. No, but my body has like if that works out, it should also get my body into fat burning mode. There's enough of that to go around as energy source.
Yeah, yeah. Ketosis apparently is very It's interesting. I tried a ketogenic diet for a while.
The what diet?
The ketogenic diet,
Keto.
where you don't, where you just avoid carbohydrates for the most part.
Mm.
So you have your macros would be 75% fat, 25% protein, no, 20% protein, 5% carbohydrates. Basically, exactly hemp seed. You just make hemp seed your primary, like your staple,
Mm.
and then you add your fruit and veg and your protein on top of that.
So finding the right nourishment routine is also circuit one topic, for example, right? And there's
Yeah.
so much information out there, so much confusion as well, like what everybody says that what's the right thing. Oh, the other day I read an article that also was like there's this nutrition pyramid, right, from the American blah blah blah, like what how you should be eating to eating healthy, and they admitted that they knew that this was bullshit, and they sold it to the American public anyhow to like further the food industry.
Yeah.
So there's so much misinformation out there, and at the end of the day, it comes back to like what makes you feel best in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Gaining also the sensitivity and sensibility of intuition of like what food sources and what macro mix is good for your body, because I don't think a keto diet is good for everyone.
No, but I when I did it, I have to admit I had great benefit.
Yeah. In which way?
Yeah. Um, Also mental. I felt like my brain functioned better, and you kind of just lose the entire hunger spiral cycle because the whole like sugar level, glucose level ups and downs just vanish, and you just have energy, long term energy. It was great. It was really great.
I would say is a keto diet in vegan a viable thing?
It is. It's not cheap
Hmm.
because you end up. I mean, you're basically dropping all the carbohydrates, which you already did because the gluten. If you
But
already
I do eat like some gluten-free bread and some gluten-free pasta as well. And then
yeah, but
sometimes potatoes and fruit.
I mean, the one thing annoying about keto is having to avoid the same stuff that you were already avoiding because of avoiding gluten. So in that sense, for you, it's less of a hassle to go keto than for somebody who is used to just eat all the gluten snacks that people provide everywhere.
Mm.
Apart from that, yeah, you drop also bananas and you replace them with avocados, but you can still eat yogurt. Yeah, but you got to drop all the sugar and honey and all this stuff. Uh, it's really not so bad. I can imagine. I could imagine trying it, giving it another go. Yeah,
Well, let's see. I'm gonna do the hunger thing this week and then keep on with the intermittent fasting that has been working out for me quite well.
yeah, of course.
Um, and then let's see. I'm fasting sugar at the moment as well
Yeah.
for Lent. So there's that.
How much longer is Lent?
Until 420 this year.
Until 420.
Yeah.
Wow.
Easter is on 4 fucking 20 this year. Jesus comes back and we all praise Mary.
I thought Lent was already over. No, Ramadan is over. Okay, great. Um, so I'm in that case, I'm still fasting self-criticism for 3 more weeks.
How's that going?
I think I was slacking off on it, but I'm good. I'm happy to be reminded that I'm still on that regimen.
I'm curious, like, in which ways have you been criticizing yourself?
I don't know, but I can tell that I've been doing it just by how nice it feels to be like, oh yeah, I'm fasting it. it's a relief. It's a relief. I think. I think I'm so inclined to self-criticism that it's like a background noise thing. I don't even notice. I can't even honestly answer the question like, in what ways do I criticize myself? Because it's just a facet of everything I do. It's constant.
It's very curious. I would not have pegged you for the type that is constantly criticizing yourself.
Well, I mask it well. No, I'm a mess. Not in a self-critical way. But I can tell you, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. That's why it's so important to fast it.
I think it might help if you embrace your Leo rising more. There's just something about the Leo way of life of like, of course I'm awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
There's like a I don't know, what is it? Like, there's a level of self confidence that comes with the Leo vibe of like,
Yeah, no, it's true. I can go harder on it.
it's not that I don't criticize myself. Like, I have a strong inner critic because my dad was usually super critical of me. He made it a sport in some way to
Mhm.
to tamper my Leo ego with really harsh criticism. So I internalized that voice as well.
Yeah.
But at some point, I did some ritual working with my inner critic, and I shifted the relationship to performance review. So I still have it. Like every time I facilitate or I go to podcasts or I write something or put something out, my inner critic goes like, "Man, I mean, you could have done this and this and this and that better." And but by shifting this relationship and this ritual, the voice changed, and there's like, "Oh yeah, okay, so performance review, give it to me, let me hear it." And
Yeah, that's
then
different.
she gives me the performance review and she's critical and she has fair points as well, and it's like, yeah, you're right, I could have done better here and there's some points where she's just right. And that over time has like really changed. It doesn't demean me or stress me or fuck me
Yeah,
up, but
but
it's
that's
still a
great.
voice that's there and I cannot acknowledge of like, yeah, I mean, it's right, I could have done better here, so next time I know what to look out for.
No, but that sounds like a great move. It's like you're feeding the gremlin of the inner critic by
I've
giving it a play.
befriended the gremlin, yeah, and feeding it. True, it's a feeding it too. Sure, it's like I'll entertain you. I'll hear
Yeah,
what you say. I'll
yeah,
take you seriously as well, and
yeah.
then I'll decide which of your critique is warranted for and which is not. And the more I do that, and the more I enter in relationship with that voice and that inner critic, the more collaborative it has become.
Right. And maybe that's also why because I feel like that's why you also have such a like open attitude towards getting feedback from other humans.
Mm.
because you already have established a, like, yeah, okay, yeah.
I love getting feedback. Yeah, I'm sure. I love getting feedback. And I think what is coming up for me is that this thing with the inner critic and your constantly self-criticism and martyring yourself with that and feeling exhausted about that has something also to do with your expectations aversion.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Good, good. I like that. That's something to dig into. That's something I can. That sounds like a good writing prompt for me. I love writing so much. I'm just reliving how nice it was yesterday to write, to integrate the nighttime, going to bed, procrastination, goblin. For me it really helps to write, just to dig and get to the heart of the issue.
Well, that's a good I think you'll find good treasure there if you go
Yeah.
digging into that relationship between the inner critic and the expectation aversion. And there's another thing just coming up for me around that, which is about the process of creation and perfectionism
Yeah,
and
for sure.
being hindered from putting out creations that your inner critic doesn't deem as good enough or perfect. And this was a process for me as well. I had really high standards and would not be able to publish or like just mourn over text of stuff forever and ever. And yeah, you might have called me a bit like sloppy or unraw, just like putting out things that were not finished or not polished to the last bit. But if I would have kept at that process, none of what I have created in the last 4 years would have ever seen the light of the world. And really, the first, I mean, those quest scrolls that are there that I know they need a revamp. I know they need a redo. And I felt this like, oh my God, I cannot publish them for the light of the light of the day. It's not possible. They're not good enough to be published. But they're out there, and people have benefited from this quest scrolls, even if there's typos there, even if the theory is not super polished, even if some passages are, they could be redone and they're like, no, yeah. And people have benefited from my work being raw and unpolished and being like knit with the hot needles and just like put out and thrown out into the world for people to
Mo-
work with. And if
mo-
I would go with that previous inner critic I had that had those high standards of perfectionism, none
mhm.
of what I have put out in the world in the last 4 years would exist. Nothing. It would all be just guarded in my treasure box of unperfect, unfinished things.
Yeah, I remember writing a poem about where I compare myself to a dragon who is sitting on a hoard of words of my my own weight in unpublished notebooks and poems and stuff like this.
Well,
By the way, I thought of another book for you to harvest or prospect quests from, the Jodorowsky book on
oh, psychomagic.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah, that one has been on my to-read list for a while.
it's really good. The quests are out there. The quests are next level. Like there's some of the Wilson quest in Prometheus Rising where you're like, ooh, spicy. That where you're like, wow, would you really do that? Those are like the mildest ones. Those are the easiest ones in Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky is so out there. There's like a quest where there's one like, yeah, go into the desert with somebody and have them dress up as your mother, and then like with the clothes and a wig, and then you dig a grave, and you put the attributes in, and you bury them, something like this, and you write a letter, and like you throw it in there, like yeah.
That sounds very weird.
No, they are weird, but you can tell just from reading them, like, whoa, this would be so, like a shock to the system to do. I mean, if you see Jodorowsky movies, you're like, wow, these, in a way, the movie scenes, like some of these scenes were like, whew. And he's basically inviting you to like to act out some of these scenes, but with your own psychological theater,
Mm.
which is powerful.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've not read the whole of Psychomagic. I just had some passages. So yeah, maybe digging into Khodorkovsky at some point would be a good quest for me as well. But man, I have like so many books in my to read list, and I have not been reading much in the last years because I've been more in output mode than in absorbing mode.
Yeah, but maybe, and there's something about this taking 2 days of rest that reflects that, because it's like if you don't rest and digest, then your output kind of gets stale and repetitive as well, because the rest and digest and reflect period is needed in order to deepen and to really let things settle and get new insights.
Oh yeah, that is true. I can contest with that. I can contest with that. I do have my periods of absolute rest and digest, but only mostly the 7 days after the winter, so the 12 nights after the winter solstice, before the next cycle begins. And then I usually get enough inspiration for that for get me going until at some point in summer I crash.
Oh.
And then I need to rest in summer because everything is so exhausting. No, it's a good thing what I have challenged myself to do with rest, but it's still giving me anxiety because right now I look at my calendar in the week and the commitments to the week, and I want to write a Substack post this week, and everything is full except for the 2 days that I said that I will not be working on a screen. How the fuck am I supposed to write my Substack post?
Write it on paper. Yeah, unironically, write it on paper.
Write it on paper and then transcribe it. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do a day at Babali this week and just have some sauna
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and relax and just like nap there and eat something nice. Um, I don't know. I might see if somebody has time to meet with me or hang out. Let's see what
Yeah,
the radio fools are up to the weekend. Maybe.
fantastic. Exactly. Just do nothing. Just do nothing. Go to a party. Don't work. Don't try to turn it into work.
It's a proper challenge, man. It's a fucking proper challenge.
Then,
I've been
then
just in
in such
like
case, there's so many people. Like I remember I had like a few friends who I saw this pattern with, where you're at a party or at some kind of social event, and you can't tell if they consider themselves to be working or not.
Well, that happens for me at festivals. Definitely the last years, yeah. That there's always a mission because I usually am hosting. I'm hosting workshops at festivals. I'm doing side care at festivals or at the Keats
No,
Burn.
no.
I'm camp lead.
I know
Uh,
at festivals. I know at festivals. I know I'm at work, but my work at festivals is to be to be as high as I can. My work at festivals is is to provide contact high. For,
well, anyhow, we need to wrap it up. My phone is dying. Also, I think we've been over an hour now again.
oh yeah, no, we need to be more disciplined about our thing.
Our
That's why I'm very happy to start introducing some structure. It
structure,
makes
like
fun.
segments. We're gonna have actual segments on our podcast.
I'm I'm gonna bring
You are gonna
structure.
bring in structure.
You don't do it. Or you can be like, oh, I would like to talk about this. Great. Very good.
It needs to come from you. I see. Any structure that is proposed from outside of you, you respond allergic to.
Yeah, yeah.
It needs to be your own structure, and then we can have some structure and some segments. And as my robot says, create some segments and drop pins for the segments and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, but I think I'm secretly very good at structure. I have yeah.
You're secretly very good at structure.
But I'm a perfectionist about it. I refuse all imperfect structure.
Oh. Okay, I'm curious. I'm curious to see where this is going. I'll entertain it. I'm happy to have a bit more structure. I
Me,
mean, we'll have some structure already, like meta structure, according to the circuits that we're
yeah.
moving into. So,
And the best structure is seamless. The best structure easily masquerades itself as flow.
hmm so I'm seeing already a start with the episode on reflecting of the last week's treasures.
Yes.
So that, and
Yeah.
then
I mean, see, my master plan's already in work.
And then at the end of the episode, like an outlook to what is coming next, an outlook of the
Yeah,
territory.
I see what you're trying to do.
And maybe there will be some quests
Oh,
that will be allowed for other people.
I'll take your suggestion into consideration. Thank you for bringing it.
So now, so now I need to put in the petitions for structures to you, Captain Obvious.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to do that at all. Actually,
It's better if I don't. You say, like, have you have the ideas so that it's like all you that brings in the structure and the ideas, so that
no, no,
whatever gremlins you have around
no,
structures and
no, that's
rebel.
the thing. And the ideas. That's exactly. That's why. Maybe that's why I'm allergic to structure, because too often structure is and the ideas. It's like here's the agenda, including the topics and the intended outcome of the debates. You know, there's a. I'm allergic to structure because I'm allergic to a process that seems to have an unspoken intended outcome. I want a,
Mm,
I want a pure process.
you're a
And
process puritanist.
yeah, yeah. I have a I think this coincides somehow with my Saturn in Sagittarius. I'm going to explore a bit more what I mean by that. Right now, it's an intuition, but yes, I have.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, we are very different creatures in that regard.
mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, but I.
I do have like I operate more with, I do have like an end goal where I want to get at,
Mm-hmm.
and then I enter the process. And yes, to some extent I allow the process to be the process, because for example, I didn't know I was gonna create maps.
Mm-hmm. No,
But
no.
the whole of this 4 years endeavors and working with this has quite a clear outcome, and that outcome is a chaos monastery.
Yes.
And everything I'm doing is aimed and in service of the evolution of creating such a place named Chaos Cluster Kunterbunt. And I'm allowing the process to unfold to some extent, but the idea to which I want to have this process culminate into is quite a fixed one, while I still allow for the possibility that the idea, like the lighthouse, the main goal, the main quest, might shift through the process.
Yeah, I have one playful suggestion, potentially playful, but also just suggestion, like a dare. Is how about you just go straight for it? You want to do Chaos Cluster Kunterbund? Go straight for it. Write a pitch, like write a pitch to say, okay, I'm looking for supporters, funding to make this happen, and here's what I would need. Here's what it would look like, and just get it in full detail.
Yeah, yeah. At some point I will do that.
In a way, it's, at some point you will do that. It's like at some point you will send in your application to Art Academy.
No, no, no. I'll do that. I'll do that. Um, I think. I mean, I've had put that on my to do list for a while to do that. Indeed, but I think that the process still, like, one of my mentors, um, when I set out on this journey, said, always go for the minimal viable version of the vision. And it's a process of unfolding as well, because as I set my intentions for this expanding my capacity for service this round and the last round as well, it also to manifest and to create and to hold this monastery, there is some expansion, some inner expansion that needs to happen in me. Like, oh, I also need to become the person that can create that actually, and that investors will believe that I can create that actually. So all the things I've been doing in the last 4 years have been also served that purpose of me becoming the person
Yeah.
that could actually create such a thing, such a big vision, and hold it, and not be just like laughed at investors, like, who are you and what have you to show for? Why should I give you n million blah to create such a space? So I'm I hear you, and it will come, but I feel that there's still a few steps in between of me getting ready to actually hold that vision as well, and
Mm-hmm.
have the capacity to hold that vision. But yeah, time is coming near for it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. That
All
sounds
right.
like a great excuse, Captain.
You think so? Hmm.
It's fabulous. You almost have me.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe sometimes it is that, like, you just rise to the occasion with the bigness and the vastness of the quest. But
But you have been doing it. Like it's the reason that your excuse works so well is because there's so much truth in it. I just think that Yeah, yeah. It's worth going straight for things when you're there when you're close. It's worth just to see, like, even see this. It's also a playful thing. It's like, oh, you can even do it as a daydream thing, like a childish thing, like you just write like a wish list to Santa.
I've already done that. The wish list to Santa is already done.
Okay, but
Like
now
a
make
serious business plan to like
it.
how could this work?
Yeah, but so somewhere in between, you write a pitch deck for Santa.
I want to write a pitch deck first for the game world. Right now, I'm hot for that.
Well, the thing about the game world is, if you write it in enough detail, by the time you finish writing it, AI can pretty much spam out the code. Okay, the words "pretty much" are doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, but I'm expecting that it will take enough time to write.
I expect that creating. I this is one of my tasks for the next 2 weeks because I'm going to Breaking Convention. And I do want to pitch this game world creation because if we can get funding for this game world creation, we can employ all the radio fools, and then we have like a basis for doing the radio and creating the game world at the same time, and just like expanding on the cosmic customer care.
Yeah,
And it would be awesome to get some funding for that, and then have a team of about like I don't know 5 people starting to develop that, and then we can go for a bigger round of funding.
I
And
think I think the cosmic customer care is a really good avenue for further growth. Like, we should definitely invest in that. I'm gonna be investing in that also. I mean, when I'm coming to Germany, this will be one thing that I'm like, okay, yeah, somehow I feel the call there. I feel the call with the radio. I feel the call with the why. I don't know why, but I'm
I don't know
feeling it.
why. What's your why for the why? You don't know your
But my
why for the
why for
why?
the why is pure vibes.
Excellent. All right, Captain Obvious, my phone is about to die. It's at 5% Hill Eris. So, Circuit 1, we're going into Circuit 1 next week, this week. We'll tell you about our experiments or our treasures we find from Circuit 1 next week when we tune back in. And maybe for you, dear listener and viewers, if you're still out there, or if you're
I
watching the replay, you can have a quest too, you know? How can
Send me a
you
brilliant.
this week befriend your
Oh,
body?
great! X, I love this. Yes, give the listeners quests. How can you befriend your body? Yes, yes. What's like the favorite movement or body practice that you've that you've had good feelings about, good results with, that you've been sleeping on, that you've been not doing? Like, put give that another shot. Just give that another chance. For me, it's gonna be yoga, meditation, and I need to dig in. I haven't been making the space. I've been not
And
prioritized. I've been trying to live in the future. I've been trying to rush to it. And I realize now, no, 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 I need to bring it back to the here and now. I'm going to be practicing my presence.
and
Like
for me,
the
it's
first,
gonna be back hitting the sack at the gym.
yeah, the zero, like the zero circuit is the one I need. It's the presence. I think presence is
But that's
underneath.
Circuit 5. Presence is in Circuit 5.
Yeah, but I realize how much the same way that Circuit 5 needs Circuit 1, in a way Circuit 1 needs Circuit 5.
Exactly. That's the point of the whole balancing act. You need to create safety in your body so that you can be more free to experience pleasure and play and experience ecstasy without frying your circuit. And my phone is about to die. So that's it for tonight. See you around.